Welcome to the Portress Podcast. This is the She's Got the Power season review. With me is Gavin Watson. It's Matthew Sullivan here. And, mate, that's season over for the Port Adelaide Football Club for 2025. Gavin, good evening. How you going, mate?
I'm well, thank you, Matthew. Happy birthday
Excellent.
for last week. I hope you had a
Thank
good
you very
trip.
much. Oh, mate, what a birthday treat the club put on for me. A shellacking for the final game. So, what did we get a score of 81 to 24? Man, that is a braining in any measure. So, what I thought was we can do a season review here, but obviously we did have a game just that we've kind of missed from reviewing last week, and if we could just tie in maybe with that kind of conversation on that game, Gavin, to just maybe that like we were just discussing just off air beforehand, just about how the team. Played those last three games in absolute style and knocked off the Crows in that three-game winning streak at the end, off the back of, as we discussed, a gallant yet disappointing on the scoreboard loss to Brisbane up here my way in Brisbane, going back early in last month in October. So we're wrapped up as we say, just GWS because we're never in the mix there, Gavin.
Well, strangely, first quarter, GWS kicked the only two goals, so it was
Yeah,
a
that's
case
right.
of like we still had a wafer thin opportunity mathematically of making the finals, but part of that relied on Port having a really big win, and the game got flipped on its head in the second quarter. I think it was 6 goals to none, and then we just kept pulling further and further away. Um, the main aspects of the game was obviously trying to get the win, trying to get a big win. We've got Indy Tahu was leading the goal kicking at that point in time. She kicked a couple more, so she the first player to kick 25 goals in a minor round
Yeah, that was brilliant.
of the competition. And Gemma Houghton kicked 2 goals in 2 minutes in the second quarter, kicked a goal in the third quarter, and then waited until the last literally 2 seconds to take a mark
Unreal.
and kick a goal after the siren to become the first AFLW player to have kicked 100 goals. So
That
there
was
was that.
so exciting. That was so exciting. I was watching that and just yeah, what a way to kind of do it. That kick,
Uh, and a good contested mark. So
great
um,
timing, perfect. Yeah,
even the celebration, it was kind of I'm not big on celebrations, but it's kind of you could see the crowd in the background. Whilst it wasn't large, but the crowd in the background really appreciated the fact that they all sort of got in a big circle and were on their knees and hands up and down. So
so
Gemma for being the first player to kick 100 goals.
first player in AFLW history to kick 100 goals in their career. That is just so special, and it's a Port Adelaide
Unbelievable.
player. I love it. Hey, so Gavin, let's as I said, let's just kind of give me kind of the storyline on that. How it was GWS really poor, or were we just is there something just special in the water that we kind of take into the 2026 season? And as I said, on the back of a couple of pretty inspiring wins against Hawthorn and Adelaide as well.
Oh look, it's great to have finished the season with those three wins and two against sides that are into the second and maybe the third week of finals.
Yeah.
Uh, the Giants actually had a decent style of play. They had some good run and link up, and Port struggled with that in the first quarter. The bit that they adjusted, it was similar to the Crows game in that the first quarter we were very reactionary. We were waiting to see what our opponent was going to do, and by the time you've done that, you've already given them a metre or two head start.
Mm.
Whereas the second quarter onwards, we sort of rolled up the sleeves, so to speak, and we won the contested footy and lifted the eyes and looked for the long options. And then from there, the Giants just, it wasn't they weren't in the contest. We were just the superior side, and we
Mm.
gradually pulled further and further away. Yeah, it's a there were several positives to finish the season on, leading goal kicker. So Gemma Houghton finished second in the goal kicking. So we've got 1-2 in the goal kicking for the season.
Oh, that's pretty
Um,
remarkable.
well, it is, but then equally, I guess that's something that Paul needs to look at in the off season. Is that that's fantastic to have such threats in the forward line, but what would be good is to um, get some smattering of other people contributing, so that in the games where they're well held, that we're still comfortable, that we're going to be more than competitive, and we can win our share of matches.
Well, what balances out that and leaves the question, leaves you with the confused question is for a team that has two potent targeted forwards and they are successful, the results on the scoreboard say they're successful. Where's the team results? Why is the team not at the top of the ladder? So, there's some questions that do need to be raised probably when we're looking at the even spread of the team. What's your rating of the season? Like when we look at where we finished, we ended up 10th on the ladder,
Yeah, yeah,
and we ended up with a 6 wins and 6 losses.
yeah,
So Sydney and ninth with the same amount of wins and losses. Fremantle just below us by percentage, just below us with 6 and 6 as well. So we really needed to get that seventh win. Yeah, that would have really got us over the line because, like the Crows and St Kilda experience, we've got Carlton 8-4. They are. So hey, look at as you say. Adelaide we beat and we got Hawthorn. They're fourth and sixth on the ladder, and we were able to beat them, and we got a good win against Melbourne, who was second on the ladder. That was a big win. When we review that one, I think that'll be a pivotal win as well. That was it was a close win. So yeah, we've got some games to kind of analyze. All right, mate. But your review of the season overall, and with a little bit of a rating as well. Give us your opinion there.
Oh, look, if you at the end of the season, finishing sixth and sixth, when we had the season that we did last year, you'd have to say that it's not a fail, but it's certainly below what the expectations were at the start of the year. So, in terms of where we ended up finishing, uh, yeah, it's disappointing. There's several results, and as you've alluded to, there's some aspects of uh, the team and certain parts of the field that we need to look at for growth
Yep.
moving forwards. The inconsistency got smoothed out as the season went on, and the last three games is a reflection of what the team is capable of doing. And uh, as we talked about beforehand, the game against Brisbane, the coach afterwards indicated, well, look, we didn't get the result that we wanted, but we forced Brisbane to have to play good footy. And that's what rolled into those last three games. And we were able to perform at the level that we did against Brisbane. The difference being is that we were able to do it for longer, and that got us those three wins. I'd say it's C minus. Just that again, the expectation with Port Adelaide, just full stop, is that we expect to play finals, but particularly the 2024 season would have suggested that we should have been at least good enough to be playing finals again this year, and we weren't quite good enough at the end of the day to achieve that.
Yep. C minus feels like a fair score. I one thing that stands out for me too when I look at the overall season is that we only got smacked in one game, the second round against North Melbourne.
Yes, yeah.
So
There
you,
were there were a couple of losses that really hurt us, and that was
yep,
there's four games that we lost where arguably we should have won at least two of those. Um, the worst loss at the end of the season, I would suggest, is the St Kilda game. We held
yeah,
sway for nearly all three quarters, the first three quarters, and then St Kilda definitely kicking with a breeze, but we just lost all control of the game and conceding 6 goals to no score in the last quarters. very rarely is it going to make you win a game of footy.
And I would add to that too, Gavin, is that it's on the back of a painful 5 point loss at Alberton Oval to Geelong the week
Yes,
before. And so
yes,
in a block of two games, you get what could have been, it's a 5 point loss and a 11 point loss. So on
yeah,
the back of two wins that are 2 weeks that could have had potentially two
two,
wins, you've got two
yes,
close losses, and that's where you those little and as we say in a game of as we say in a competition with only 12 rounds and the margins for error is very, very narrow,
yeah,
these are the two games that you say can be really, really painful. And it's funny enough, on the back again of the round five game, where
yes,
we took advantage to actually defeat Melbourne at home. I think the loss against West Coast Eagles in Perth was whilst it was only it's a 19 point margin, so again not a big smacking, unlike that round two loss against North Melbourne, but
yeah,
it's still costly, and we had chances, we were competitive, so sometimes it's just a little peppering of those little 2 to 3 goal losses throughout the year that
yeah,
they're not kind of the memorable 1 point wins or 1 point losses, but they're also not the memorable shellackings or memorable defeats, and it's more or memorable big defeats. I was trying to say it's probably
yes,
when they're just a simple kind of 2 to 3 goal win either way. There can be always something a little bit not dismissive of it, but because it's in Perth, and we just we smacked Gold Coast the week before. Get home, get back, take on Melbourne. Do we just dismiss that? So that's the kind of game, and I think West Coast too are a team that, from my memory, are pretty much in line with us, where they've got the same kind of
correct. They
growth.
entered
Yeah,
the same season as we did, and equally they've got a young side.
yeah,
Um, the West Coast game we matched with them for at least two and a half quarters,
yep,
and again it was just the inability to stick at our structures, and West Coast just had that bit of polish.
yep,
Even round one, we'd had an okay preseason,
hmm
and in the last quarter against Freo, we hadn't played our best, but we were in our forward line with an opportunity to kick a goal, and we were only down by 5 points. And
yeah.
then over the last sort of 5 minutes of the game, they went on and kicked another 3 goals, and that blew that out. But look,
So,
whilst the season's disappointing, those two losses that you referred to could have absolutely sucked all the life out of the side. But when you
mm,
consider over the last 5 games, they won 4 of those 5 games, and the one loss they had was the one to Brisbane, where they actually played reasonably good footy. It was just that Brisbane just had that little bit more polish.
really good
Um,
point. It's a really good point.
and,
Beating
um,
Western Bulldogs, who probably aren't an easy beats either. So,
no,
no, that
it
was a
just
good point.
highlights the difference. The foundation the foundation sides of the competition, the gap is closing. The advantage that they had over everyone else is diminishing because sides now are able to start to recruit. Um, the outlier there is North, and we can touch on that sort of maybe in a little bit around what that looks like and what that might mean for sites like Port and the competition. But yeah, look, overall, at the end of the day, there's like lots of positives to take out of it. But the biggest thing is that close enough isn't good enough.
I agree
Got to
with you
just
there.
get a little bit extra out of the side, and 2 extra wins, and suddenly we're sixth or fifth on the ladder and having a red hot crack at it.
So coaches, any changes? Do you think?
Oh,
No.
no, well, the only changes they made was within the squad where they swapped from midfield and defence.
Yep.
So Daniel Merritt looked after the defence, and uh, the coaches as a group, the biggest issue that they have is the lack of time that they can spend with the players. So it's a young squad.
Right.
The more time they can get to spend with them, the more experience that they can impart on them and more knowledge. And again, the second half of the season shows that we're on the right track. We just need to
Yeah.
be able to translate it into from start of the season. So that's 2 seasons in a row now where we've started poorly. Last season we were able to come home really strongly. This season we were a little bit more spluttery and we didn't get into the finals. So
Well,
that's an area to address. I think it's just a case of the club need to decide. The coaches have done a great job. Are there any opportunities to increase that on that coaching group? From a soft cap point of view, probably not. And then the next question is, are there any greater opportunities to introduce even more experienced coaches
yeah.
to the fray? So I think the club's fairly comfortable with the squad that they've got from a coaching point of view. But again, it'd be silly at the end of any season not to review what resources you have and whether you can improve those resources.
Get focused just on the players. If you just want to give me, let's get the negatives out of the way. Anyone, it might not be much of a negatives, but maybe if you even not talk per even personnel, but maybe like back line or the center line or whatever. But if you not who's the culprit, but where is the deficiencies and where do we need to kind of look at strengthening either the organic strength that we have in the team or the getting some new players in? Where is our weaknesses for this year that cost us, the chances not to touch a top eight finish?
Sure. So just if we quickly just touch on those the club delistings. So we've
Yeah,
had
let's do that.
Janelle Cuthbertson
Yep.
has retired. She had an ACL on the back end of an ACL, and
10 minutes to go. Just let you know, we might do another Zoom, man. That's all right.
sure, um, a
Yeah, Janelle.
fantastic contributor to the club. She was obviously the second captain, but yeah, just at 35, she's seen that it's time for her to focus on herself and getting her body right. So she's
Just a bit of history. Where was she? Who she played for in the past? And so tell us a little bit about her history and celebrating her.
I would her background's in tennis,
Okay.
and so she used to play college tennis and was a pretty handy tennis player. She
Okay.
had health issues and stepped away from sport, and then they discovered that their diagnosis wasn't quite correct. So she then stepped into footy, played footy for Fremantle, and then came across to Port. Was a huge contributor, not just from a personal perspective, but just the mentorship and leadership that she's brought to the club with her experience has been invaluable. So,
She had
yeah,
a
for
few
her,
seasons with us before being the captain and everything. I think a couple.
yeah. So she's been there since the inception, and
Right.
yeah, again, a valuable contributor, and that was part of the reason that she was earmarked is because of the fact that she's just got such great leadership
Mm.
qualities, and that's something that the side needs just with such a young squad. So yeah, look, it's good luck to her with whatever she decides to do moving forwards.
Absolutely.
Um, Kobe Morgan, who came in as a fill-up player when Caitlin Wendland
Yes.
injured her knee.
Yep.
She's been delisted without having played a game.
Okay.
Um, Alyssa Brooke. So Alyssa Brooke was brought in as a defender, but with a little bit of height, they tried her in the ruck, and she did okay in the ruck. The she has good, she has reasonable size about her.
Right.
Just her decision making and
Sure.
while she's quick, her use of speed. There was a bit of not disconnect, but it was a little bit slow in the transition between from defence to attack and picking up players. So hence she's been delisted. And for me, the one that's a bit of a sad one to see is Jasmine Stewart.
Oh,
Arguably,
okay.
her second quarter against the
Yeah.
Crows in the showdown turned the game and helped get the momentum back.
Yeah.
Um,
Surprising.
Bit of last year as well, though. She was more of I think the club's made that decision that they're looking at putting together a squad that will get us to the finals and to a premiership. And Tasman's not old by any stretch. I think she's only 26, 27. So, but they've obviously made the decision that she's not going to be part of the next premiership side. So they've made the very difficult decision
Ah,
to delist her. So
that is a surprise. I did not know that until now. So that's surprising.
so from a squad perspective, I guess Jasmine Stewart supporters out there, it's not great that we've lost such a hard at it
Mm.
kind of a player. But if the club believes that the squad's at a position where we can cut her, then they obviously see some like positivity in terms of the depth of the club moving forwards. Um, in terms of what you were saying before about what does the side like individuals or sections of the field, the two areas that it's only going to come over time is the experience. Like we lost a mountain of experience at the end of last season. We've now
Yep.
lost a little bit of experience this season. But the more that the side plays together, the better they're going to be, and we'll have more consistency like we did in the second half of this
Yeah.
season. The other area that they need to look at is, and this is the hard part, is they need to recruit for height. We need probably an extra tall defender. When we played North's just got 2, 3, 4 people that are like taller than our tallest defender, and so they just stretch our defence. And so a tall defender, and they're not easy to find. So whether we're able to trade in one, or whether we're able to recruit one and put more time into it, but yeah, sides that have got tall forward lines is going to be an issue for us for a while. And another person to be able to go through the midfield that potentially is a bit more of a utility type. So someone that could potentially play in defence or play in the forward line. And again, ideally, having a bit of height would be fantastic. So the squad's there and thereabouts. It's just, yeah, there's a few things that we need to do. Obviously, we're not in the final, so it's clearly a work in progress. And from my perspective, I think they're the areas that we need to look to try and improve on. And yeah, look, next season we'll get Caitlin Wendelin back, so that's a very hard working forward line
Yeah.
pressure person. And another pre-season, and hopefully her knees are completely sorted now. Lauren Young, I think there's so much upside for her that
Yes.
that looks the future there looks pretty good.
Very good. Yeah,
Um,
she had a great last couple of games there. So
the
yeah.
other ones are that Kirsty Lamb, she had a few soft tissue injuries. Um, she brings a lot of grunt into the midfield, so hopefully she can get herself right for next season, which will
Yes.
provide some flexibility. And Chloe Gaunt, just another pre-season, a bit more footy. There were some things that she did when she played that were good. The area of her game that she needs to improve on is one, just her ability to get around the ground, and two, her involvement in that. There are a couple of games where it's like, oh yeah, no, she's definitely got a handle on it, and then there's other games where she looked a little bit lost.
Uh-huh.
But she's only very young, so again, another pre-season, another like area of working within the team just to get used to
Sure.
each other. So there's less turnover in the squad this year than there was last year. We've only got the 4 people out, whereas the year before I think it was 9. So
Right.
so there's a lot more settled squad. So that in itself again should translate into more consistency for next year.
Matilda Schultz, I think she could be an All-Australian. She was just brilliant. A really good season. Probably inspires, has the other players around her, the other tall players around her that she really inspires and shows them how to leads the way that way. For me, Ebony O'Day just had still another outstanding season to build on from there. Give her a rating of out of 10.
I looked as the season went on, she was up towards a 7 or an 8.
We also saw a great season from Abby Dowrick.
Yep.
I really believe that too. Obviously, we talk about Indy Tahu and Gemma in the forward line, the Twin Towers there. But then, yeah, probably when you do think about that, there is a bit of a uh, Ella Borg, or was she standing out with maybe the back line probably wasn't as outstanding? Is there any individuals that kind of remind me if you can just give Lauren Young probably at the end there with in the back line stood out in the second half of the season in the defence, but anyone else kind of stood out and or do you want to I'd love you to elaborate on any of those players as well and just give us your kind of I guess final review of the not only give us those players, to share it from as you're discussing these players. Take us back to some of the exciting moments and little things that stood out throughout the season, and just got yourself and your family kind of off the seats and cheering loudly at the games and stuff. Things that what was a what before I can, I'm going to say one more thing. The thing that I was thinking about before is just the season again when it comes to exciting moments, highlights. You know, when you look at just the quality of the footy being played. It's improving and it's exciting. It's the reason it says, okay, I'm going to get out of, I'm going to drive out, I'm going to get out of the house here, and I'm actually going to go to the game. I want to see these players, live, just like as we've always grown up, as we were kids, wanting to see our stars live. So, yeah, just give us a bit of a roundabout highlights of your players for the season for you.
Sure. So if we go, first of all, yeah, agree with everything you've said about Matilda Scholes. She had an outstanding season. Would be absolutely, I'd be struggling to understand how she can't be in the All Australian side. Abby Darrick won the best and fairest last year. She'll poll well in terms of Indy Tahu and Gemma Houghton also.
Yep.
Another person through the midfield, probably Ash Woodland.
Oh yeah,
She had a pretty consistent year, so she's probably a smoky to win the best and fairest. But I'd expect her to poll in the top three.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know how I forgot
Um,
her, but that's just brilliant.
Ella Heads, new player to the side, she fit in pretty well, and Sashi Syme had a fairly consistent year, just someone that until last year hadn't played any defence, so she's continued her growth as the small shutdown defender that
Yeah.
runs off of the player and has some pretty good foot skills. The other highlights are just all of the debutants that we had. For me, the standout first year player for the side was Jasmine Sowden. She's just got got some footy smarts. Having said that, she had a bit of a brain fade in the last game of the season, which was a bit funny. She top of the goal square, won the footy. I think she even took a mark, played on and kicked it off her left foot and promptly kicked it out on the full. And it's just like, I'm not sure what she was thinking. There were a few good snaps during the year. Caitlin Pope kicked a couple of nice snaps, as did Ella Bogue. No massive hangers that I can remember during the season. In terms of funny stuff, I guess those of you that like going on to TikTok and or the Port Facebook space,
Yeah.
they've put quite a bit of content out during the year around sort of paying out on each other with bad habits and or just some stupid TikTok dances and stuff like that. But yeah, again, the thing that impresses me is that again the players are just so approachable, and after the game, win, lose, draw, they're giving of their time to the supporters and thankful for that, and they always do it with a sense of humility and humbleness, which is always great to see. So again, we must be due a good run with injury. I mean, there's a few people. Piper Window must have kicked a black cat whilst smashing a wind mirror, walking under a ladder. We had the foot injury for Caitlin Wendland with her knee injury, should I say. Julie Teakle with a foot injury. She only played the very last round of the season.
Good to have Teakle back, next year.
Gemma Charity didn't even get an opportunity to play because of her rehabbing of injury. Lauren Young um, uh, got to play her first game, but then needed some more knee surgery. And Cheyenne Hammond broke her hand, and Kirsty Lamb. So there were a few people during the season. It'd be good, like
Out of the medical room. Yeah.
yeah, and have a full squad for round one of next year. That'd be something unique for the team to enjoy. And so yeah, look, I think onwards and upwards. As long as they continue to put in the hard work like they did at the end of last season, they just need to gel that little bit more as a team, and somehow a couple of them, if they could grow an extra foot or two, would be handy.
Before we exit the Portrait Studios, not only for this podcast, but for this season, which is pretty huge. I guess we just wanted to do a last couple of little things and just discuss any other little things about what's happening at the Port Adelaide Footy Club in the AFLW. Any other things just off field. As I said, just we've obviously had the milestones. Are we hearing any other players coming into the team for next year, or what else is happening within just the team before we talk about the actual podcast?
So yeah, best and fairest is on the Monday the 17th. Unlike the male side of things, there's not as much talk around the women's competition. I've not heard anything from any players that Port are at risk of losing.
Sure.
There's a couple of key position players running around for Brisbane that quite a few sides have shown interest in. Port don't need any key position forwards. They an extra key position defender would be probably more on the cards.
Sure.
But yeah, look, I guess it's a watch this space as the season finishes, like the men's side of things. Then sides will complete their delistings, and then there's the trade period, which is smaller and not as drawn out as the men's side of things is, and then they will do the national draft. And women's competition for next year, again, 12 rounds,
12
which is
rounds.
unfortunate. The one thing I mentioned earlier that I'd love to just very briefly touch on is that the AFLW, the men's have a salary cap, the women's have a tiered system. The issue with the tiered system is that each side can only have 2 people in tier 1. It can only have, I think it's 2 or 3 in tier 2.
Okay.
Then it's 4 in tier 3, and then almost everyone else in tier 4. The issue with that is that it's very difficult to move a player from one club to another, because you can't come along and say, hey, Chloe Gaunt, we think you're a talent. We're going to offer you $100,000, because that would make her a tier 1 player. And that's just not going to happen. So sides like North Melbourne attract a swathe of quality players who are happy to sit in the 2nd, 3rd or 4th tier and earn a bit less money, because they know that their side's every opportunity of playing in a grand final and potentially winning a premiership.
Interesting.
So the AFL needs to make some big calls in that regard to make it a more level playing field.
Interesting.
And the 12 rounds, that's ridiculous. It's our 4th season. It's the first time we've played Melbourne. They need to grow the competition over the next few years and get it up to a 17-round competition. And if Tasmania join, then an 18-round competition, so everybody gets to play each other once.
Absolutely. Now, if that is confirmed that it's 12 rounds next year?
Yes, yeah, they've already confirmed it.
That's ridiculous. Yeah, that's crazy.
And the times that they play the matches, they talk about KPIs of 6,000 supporters to a game, and a variety of other things, and then they'll go and play a game on a Friday night at 5:30. Like, who's going to get along to that? It's ridiculous. Yeah. And so they can't say that they're about the growth of the competition without literally putting their money where their mouth is. Like, set up the facilities so that we don't have to play 3 of the 4 finals on one weekend at Icon Park. Surely there's other football grounds available.
Good pickup. Good mention.
And actually get behind the players. Allow the competition to have a greater soft cap for the coaches, so that they can invest more time in the proving the players. As you've said, the competition skill level has increased significantly, but it's going to grow even faster if you can invest that time and effort and energy in imparting those skills and knowledge into the players.
So
It can only be a positive thing.
the professionalism is there, but you're saying there's still work to go. There's still a bit more improvement before you see probably like an end product to where it really should kind of sit in at I guess at a more plateau kind of level as a professional competition. So it's still got a little bit more growth to go.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. If you compare the men's to the women's is run on a shoestring in comparison to the
Yeah.
men's. Um, and look, I get and understand why that's the case. But from a resource point of view, surely clubs can have more than sort of four coaches to invest that time with the players so that they get fast tracked with their skill set so that
I'd be interested to know why there is no big, unless there is, and I'm going to certainly do my Google searching on it and stuff. I'm getting right into the AI stuff recently right now, so I might get my AI assistant to get to work and find out kind of the AFL right now, man. It's a new thing. It's a little bit of a thing that's a bit different for my generation and maybe even yours, but this whole draft and trade and it's all off season just picks and trades and it picks 2, 3, 7 and he there's three-way trades and all that stuff. I'm getting my head more around it over the last 3, 4, 5 years, but no, I certainly still know some people that just once September are done, they just tune off until March the following year, and I
yeah,
guess heck, I know some people that don't care during the week. There's just weekend, just the game. Ins
yes,
and outs. Nah, it's Thursday. Like I'm waiting until
yeah,
I just talk footy on Saturday, and I get on the weekend. So I get some time. We're all at different levels. Some of us just live and breathe it every day, right? So
yes,
and yeah, so I guess the AFLW. I'm looking forward to there being a presumption, I guess, of just equalness. So the draft and the trade and everything else is just as celebrated as uh, in the AFLW as it is right now in the AFL. And maybe there's a nice future, where there's a kid that we're actually are seeing a young lady out there that's just like the young men get talked about that are on the 12, 13, 14, 15 years of age and they're already been, maybe the sons of, so you got some daughters of, or just a
yes,
young girl that's just a super talent that she's not a daughter of a ex SANFL or AFL player, and that she's just a great talent, and everyone's actually talking about this female footballer that's a young footballer, like we do when we praise kids in the males that haven't even played a game, and yet they're just touted as the next thing and the next superstars, and it's all good and everything's like great with that. But wouldn't that be nice? If we see a day when a young lady has, and women's AFL as at that level where we're actually, there's the top 10 draft, and we've got to imagine that. Can you imagine that, Gavin? The top 10 draft, and we've got 10 women, sorry, 10 young girls, 10 young ladies that are going to be picked up, and we're all talking about it just like we do in the AFL. We're not probably there for maybe several, 3, 4, 5, 10 seasons, even. Like, I don't know.
yes, yeah,
It's a generational cultural thing, but that's something that we can see one day. The off season being in the AFLW being really hyped, and yeah, I'm sure there'll be a day when that happens.
yeah. Oh, and hopefully we get to see it and enjoy it. That these players put an awful lot of time and effort and energy into a 12-round competition,
Mm.
and they're expected to be of a similar level in a professional
Yeah.
sense as what the men are, and the men earn infinitely more, and their season goes for longer. So it's easier to engage for a season where you're playing 23 rounds. They're only playing half the length of that,
Yeah.
and yet their pre-season is just as long as what the men's is.
And they're not getting
And
paid just half.
no, 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 no. So
No.
there's some inequities there that need to
Yeah.
be looked at and figured out how to address it. And
Absolutely.
they need to improve the accessibility to the punters out there that enjoy the current the game style and the like,
Yeah.
but look to grow that and attract other people,
Well,
and show people that like to sort of bag it that
yeah,
they're wrong. Like the
absolutely.
quality of the competition in terms of endeavour and attack on the footy, you cannot fault. Um, and as the game evolves, the skills will get even better still. Um, there's people kicking goals from out and outside 50.
Mm,
That'll increase, and this year is the first season where there's a lot of um, set up and short kicks and switches and all of that
mm.
sort of stuff. That's the game's evolving, and it's evolving rapidly. And AFLW is a competition that's only going to get stronger. And if Port keep on the right trajectory, we're going to be right at the pointy end of it, challenging for not just for finals but for premierships.
Yeah, yeah, and hopefully some dynasties as well to come.
Yes,
You
yes,
know, that's what we want. All right, mate.
yeah,
Well, if we can just steer our direction just to our podcast, to basically just to give the listeners and the viewers a bit of an insight into what we're kind of looking for next year and how it's going. So it is November. We've obviously the AFL season is as you see right now, just in the throes of just the draft and the trade and all the off season. I think the players came back today, literally
they
for
did.
their
Yeah,
pre-season training. I saw Whitlock was being interviewed.
yeah,
So just to let the listeners and our listeners and fans know that you are jumping on board to be part of the AFL team with myself next year. So it's you and I, and we'll and being as I said November, so we'll do some social media stuff. If I get the urge to do a little thing of something that's happened in the club, there's like five re-signings around Christmas time. I might do a Christmas message or something. I might even it'll just be myself doing something. Otherwise, kind of the next time I see you will most likely be when we get the tradition with the podcast is we get back in late February, early March when the probably round about that time when the pre-season's running, probably a
yeah,
couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks before round one. So yeah, early March at the latest, and we'll obviously dust off any of the cobwebs doing the podcast and get ourselves ready for another big season with Josh Carr at the helm. We've seen a whole lot of changes that we were talking about just in our season review there. So it's exciting time. So it's great to have yourself on board, and we'll enjoy season. Look, it's incredible just when you think about it. So many faces have changed, and so that's going to be exciting. And the big face change in the podcast is yourself, so it's going to be great to have you on board, mate.
no, no, thank you. In terms of this season, thanks again for the opportunity.
Mm,
Thanks to everyone that's watched what
yeah,
we've put out there.
really want to
Um,
thank them. That's thank you.
we,
We
we,
wouldn't be doing
we
this otherwise.
love we love the feedback that people are willing to give, and we're open to any and all feedback and suggestions for things for us to consider to look at. In terms of next year, yeah, exciting to be involved in the men's reviews as well as the women's, and sort of the format that you're looking at doing that in as well. So yeah, no, the next year looks to be promising, particularly
Yeah.
for the women's side of things. And there's plenty of new things amongst what the men's
So
side is going to be putting out as well.
when is the women's competition starting and the men's we always know about? So can you give us a little bit of alignment? And I'm going to actually ask a part B question, a little bit of a teaser. Do you predict even 1 or 2 or 3 seasons time, or tell me if it's never, that the actual seasons will align and we'll actually have men and women playing alongside each other in the winter time?
So the women's season again will be 12 rounds long next year. So the time that they're going to be playing it is pretty much the same as this year when they start. Obviously, next year with the wild card round, there won't be a bye, so there won't be a standalone weekend of women's football.
Right.
There'll be a couple of finals footy for the men's in there as well. Um, in terms of yeah, look, I would love to and hope and that the AFLWs see sense in growing the size of the season so that it gets to a point where there's 17, and when it grows to potentially a Tasmanian side, an 18-round competition before they play finals. So that in a 2-year cycle, everybody plays each other at home and away. And when we get to that point, then we know that we've got as fair a competition as we can.
Absolutely.
Will it align with the men's competition? As the length of the season grows, they're going to have to start the season for the women's side of things earlier and earlier. I'm not a fan of the last 2 years. Like last year, like Port played North in 32-degree heat, and there were several finals that were just crazy hot. So they will have to move the season earlier and earlier, and part of that will align with state competitions. So then there's the potential for players not playing for their club side to maybe go back to the SAFL or the AFLW to play matches and keep their match skills up. But that's look, that's on the AFLW. They need to step up and
we'll send this podcast to them.
They're for the growth of the competition, and I think that's a big area of growth.
Yeah.
And look, again, the numbers for Port have been consistently over 3,000 people to every game. Right. And I can only see that growing. Again, as Port do more redevelopment at the ground, it becomes more inviting for more people to go. Yeah. As the competition improves, it's more inviting for more people to go. So over the next sort of 3 to 5 years, I think that the 3,000 will be up around the sort of the 6,000-7,000, and I can only see an upward trajectory for Port as a club, but the competition as a whole.
Mate, well, thank you very much. So, hey, have a lovely summertime and have a great Christmas and Happy New Year to
things. Yeah.
That is Happy New Year to you as well, and to all our listeners and viewers. Thank you very much for your support from not only just the AFL throughout this season and for what we've done, and then we've done the AFLW. You've been a great support. Seriously, I get a couple messages from time to time. We always see the comments on Facebook and through the YouTube. Hey guys, you guys are just great. I really appreciate the support from the Power fans, the Alberton crowd, Shane Kelly. There's a Natalie Luck. There's the crew I'm mentioning. I'm going to forget names of people, but Maxine up here in Queensland, some Port Adelaide fans that support the club, support what I do, what we're doing. Both teams in this season have had missed opportunities. Really, they've kind of finished just under the ladder in probably 10 and 13 respectively, and they. Just a missed opportunity because you've got in both teams, the AFLW and AFL teams in Port Adelaide, this stack of talent, and I'd love both of these teams to get some premiership glory in the next 3 to 4 or 5 years. So, and we will report it. We'll be here at the podcast. So, for 2025, the Portraits podcast final recording. Gavin, send us out. Thank you very much. And until 2026,
go the Power.